Hey yo, what's up? It's Bodi. This is my first video blog since taking over World of Ming, and I have a lot to talk about. First off, I'll start off with the editorial direction of World of Ming. Lately, as everyone have noticed, we've implemented a weekly guest blog function, or feature rather, so that people can get a different taste of different people and players all around the World of Warcraft community from pretty much any background or any situation, and we give them a spot to speak their voices. Thus far, it's been a huge success. You all liked Veeks. You all got to see the rather interesting writing style of Marxo. You saw Pyrillus, and we have a lot of other people coming up. People like Glick, hopefully Kate Heffernan, will do some work with us. Maybe we can get Flex from Complexity Black, and maybe someone from Complexity Red to contribute. The point of this is to ensure that we diversify our content so that people, readers everywhere, of World of Ming can get a much different perspective than a stagnant staff. And so it gives people something to look forward to. And Trance and I are working very hard together to ensure that the content of World of Ming is diverse enough so that everyone, no matter who you are, whether you're a pro or whether you're a newbie just getting into arena and you just hit level 80 on your first character yesterday, no matter who you are, you can get something from the site. And that is the editorial direction that we're going with. You'll notice that there are writers like Marx or Pyrillus who are much more intellectual in nature. That really appeals to me personally. I like that. I try to make things intellectual, and that's generally the angle that I try to follow. It's not really something that's really been done on World of Ming, but it's a direction that I feel will do very well. I mean, within our demographic, a lot of people are college age to post college age, very bored people who play the game. I know that I'm definitely in that post college age, and I play WoW as a way to relax. And there are people who just have a lot of busy schedules, but they still make time to play. And I feel that if we heighten the intellectual expectations of the writing, it will also concurrently raise the caliber of writing, or how would I say, the standard, yes, to raise the standard of writing on World of Ming significantly. This is my Trance and I's goal as we move forward into World of Warcraft Arena, going from the end of Cataclysm in Season 8 into Raid of Battlegrounds and stuff like that. But in going in this direction, there's also StarCraft 2 to speak of. Pook's most recent blog was nothing but StarCraft 2 related stuff, and honestly, in guild chats everywhere, that's what everyone is talking about. StarCraft 2 is unequivocally the most hyped Blizzard game since World of Warcraft itself, and I really believe that it's even more hyped than that. People have been anticipating the games for years. The first game came out in 1998. And with the new Battle.net system, there is an inevitable overlap between the two communities. And right now, what we see, even in beta, is that there are a lot of StarCraft 2 players who honestly are very, very, for lack of a better word, butthurt that they didn't get a StarCraft 2 beta. They're like, oh man, I've been following this game, obsessively since it first came out, and I didn't get a beta key yet. You have all these WoW nerds coming in who don't really know anything about RTS, and they're doing all these replays and they look terrible and don't do stuff. Like, what the hell? Well, I have a message to all those StarCraft 2 players who are all really, really butthurt and frustrated. You are not entitled to a beta key. You're not at all. I've been playing the game personally for about 3 months, and I got a beta key, but that's mostly because I'm press. When you're testing the game, you just don't want people who know the game really, really well. One reason why Blizzard is so successful at putting out games and ensuring that everyone can play it no matter what your skill level is because they test it thoroughly across all demographics. If you didn't get a beta key, it's unfortunate, and it's really unfair that some people got beta keys and other people didn't. However, no one is entitled to anything. It's a privilege, not a right. Just because you were a consumer of a game for a very long time does not mean that you should get something. So that's really all I have to say about that. Um, Going back to WoW, honestly, there's not really much to talk about. There is a new patch 3.3 coming out, and yeah, okay, they increased the amount of honor gains across the board by 50%, while concurrently lowering the honor that you're getting from Wintergrass quests, and that's really cool. I like it. I really hate having to log in, and I play on Blackrock Horde, and so I queue up for a battleground, and queues are at least 8 minutes long. It's so bad, I'm tempted to switch back to Alliance simply to do the honor grind. It's absurd, and the only way that a casual player can really get into it and grind out all the honor needed is if they basically take a week off of work and do nothing but constantly play, and it's very tedious. It is, unfortunately. I like Battlegrounds. I like Battlegrounds a lot, and actually, more people play Battlegrounds than they play Arena. So it's obviously a huge interest there. However, for me personally, that makes it a job. It does. And it goes back to one of the main criticisms of WoW as a competitive esport, as a competitive game, is that you have to do all this grinding, do all this unnecessary crap just to be competitive. Like, okay, Veeks. Veeks had a warrior who was a complete season behind in gear and he still hit Gladiator. But everyone's not Veeks. Veeks is one of those special. It's kind of like the Bill Gates of the WoW world. We can't expect everyone to be like Bill Gates, and in terms of skill level, business level, or whatever. Like Veeks is one of those exceptions. Most people aren't like that, and unfortunately, we get to the point where I'm predicting, and VHEL, also predicts that the next big thing in WoW esports will be objective-based PvP. But going back to the StarCraft thing, honestly, it seems that a lot of the WoW professional players are very interested in StarCraft 2. We may see many of them either try to do two games concurrently or completely move over to StarCraft 2 as well, because it has a very huge competitive community that's been around for well over a decade and is insanely popular all over the world. I can totally see many WoW players going to that. However, as Cataclysm comes out and as we rev up for it and as Blizzard's PR and marketing team go into full force, I'm wondering how they're going to balance that, because essentially they're competing with themselves here when it comes to that community. I mean, yeah, okay, you have Street Fighter 4, you have Quake, you have Counter-Strike, and all those are big games. But so's Warcraft 3, so's StarCraft, and so's World of Warcraft. That's just from one company. So it'll be interesting to see how the community, with its overlap between all three, of those communities from each of those franchises, mess with each other. Right now, there's a little bit of hate, but honestly, I really don't feel that many members of the community are having a true appreciation for just how much we all have in common. And that sounds really like some really huge hippie bullshit, but honestly, it's true. And when we talk about the editorial direction of World of Ming, and we come to this inevitable crossroads of each individual franchise, and each individual franchise having its its base and its fan base, and all three franchises colliding with each other, we have no choice but to communicate. Recently, I've started to write for Starfeeder. Me personally, I'm not going to write about StarCraft on World of Ming. My first StarCraft entry, I made a little mistake, and I posted it in WoW Riot instead of, under the World of Warcraft portal instead of the StarCraft portal. Oops, my bad. But generally speaking, we're going to try to stay on topic. There's been a little bit of exploration into maybe expanding into other games, or maybe partnering with other blogs and trying to cover more than just World of Warcraft. But that's very early in the stages. There's nothing set in stone. It's just an idea at this point. If you have any feedback about that, just put it in comments and flame me and say I'm a dumbass or whatever. Say what you gotta say. Questions, comments, insults. I take it all.